the incubator is set to a temperature of between 35 and 37 degrees C. This one is set at 37. So this is a pheasant egg incubator, and you can set the temperature. You just take the end cap off there. It's screwed on, and then you just set the temperature accordingly. I set this one about five years ago, something like that, and have never had to adjust it since. It's that good a bit of kit. Also, the humidity is there's a water bath in the bottom of it. Keeps the humidity up. It dries out. It takes about a week or so to dry out, so it's a really good idea to check every 3 or 4 days and just see how it's doing. And all I do is just get a bottle like that, put a little bit of water in, and then top the 2 trays up. So different incubators will have different arrangements, but the key is to make sure that you keep it topped up with water. You've got to keep that humidity up, otherwise the cells will dry out and will desiccate. So it's really, really important. But you then have a vent at the top, sliding vent. So if you want to reduce the humidity, then you have it open all the way, or you can have it completely closed. What I tend to do is when I've got queen cells in there, I have it completely closed, and then when the virgin queens hatch out, then that's when I open it up like that. Okay. Let's say this is a Brinsea pheasant or egg incubator, and there are lots and lots of different varieties of it, and I set it 37 degrees. Now, the benefits of using the incubator, I'll just take the lid off again, is that it allows you to see the virgin queen emerge, and then she's in the roller cage there. If you were to put the queen cell straight into the mini nuke or into a nuke, then you're not 100% sure of what the queen is going to look like, virgin queen, and also she may come out with some deformities as well. So the advantage here of using the incubator is I can see her emerge, have a good look at her, write it down in my notes, and then introduce her. So that's the advantage of using the incubator. And it also gives you a little bit of time. So when you take the grafts out of the cell raising colony or the nuke, then it can go into the incubator, and then that gives you a couple of days to sort things out and set up your mini nukes and things like that. So it gives you that little bit of flexibility. These ones have been in here now for, I've got one batch at the back that have been in there for about 7-8 days, and they're due to hatch today. And then the ones at the front, which are from another of my breeder queens, they've been in there for about 3-4 days. One of the key things is that when you are moving the grafts, or the other way is you can cut queen cells out from the frame using a scalpel, and then put them into the roller cages. And this is what I've done here. These have been cut out, which is why we've got the pins there. So the pins hold the queen cell the right way up, hold it off the ground, and stop it falling down. So it's in the right aspect for the virgin queen to pupate and then hatch. When the virgin queens do hatch, they're able to look after themselves, i.e. feed themselves, until they're mature. So I've had virgin queens in there for 4 or 5 days without any problems. But they do, I think, they do tend to sort of the health starts to go down, deteriorate, as it were. What I think happens is once the virgin queen matures, then she bonds with the little colony in the mini nuke or in the nuke. She bonds with it, and then they start to feed her, and then she'll go out on the mating flights and so on and so forth. But for the first 3 or 4 days, she can feed herself, no problems at all. And what I use here, and I just put a little bit of it down on the bottom of the roller cage once the virgin queen has hatched out, is just a mix of honey and fondant, and I just put a little smear of that on the bottom of the roller cage, and then that feeds the virgin queen certainly for a couple of days, no problems whatsoever. There is some people also think about putting water in there as well, or spraying the roller cage with water and things. I find generally if you do that, the virgin queens do start to get themselves covered in sort of stickiness, as it were. So personally, I don't give them water. I think they get everything they need from that, and with the humidity in the incubator. Now, the other thing I want to talk about briefly is you've seen the lineup of roller cages there. It's really important to keep a decent record. Here, today's date, the number of queen cells that are in here, so there's 7 there. And where are they from? Which breed of queen? So these ones are from T5, colony T5, which is Trilade 5, my home apiary here. That's 7 at the back, and then there's 7 at the front, and they're from T7, which again, Trilade apiary here, another of my breeding queens. T5, they're due to hatch today, and T7 due to hatch on the 28th. So it's really important to keep a record of where everything is, otherwise you get yourself in a real muddle, particularly if you've got 1 or 2 or 3 breeder queens that you want to breed on from. And putting the date that they're due to hatch, they will hatch 1 day left or 1 day right, but very rarely will it be more than that. So if they haven't hatched 3 days after they're meant to hatch, then it's well worth going in and taking a look and seeing whether the queen cell is still viable. And you can either hold it up to the light and have a look through, or what I do is with a scalpel just take away the end where the queen is going to emerge out of anyway, and then just have a look into the queen cell itself. Do that with a scalpel, and if she's just about to hatch, then just cover it back up again and then put it back in the incubator. Everything is good. But it runs on clockwork, it really does.